Subscribe to Dave's Multiverse on YouTube, Spotify, and...
Let's go. It is Multiverse Live. Greetings, humans. We are live on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Whatever node of the multiverse you're joining in from, let us know in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, because we are having a special community building and live stream full of new beginnings, featuring owners of Ancient Portals LLC and creators of the Ancient Portals Facebook group, Lakeisha and Laphonso Woods, coming at us from the border of Arizona and Mexico. Thanks for joining the Multiverse, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
All right. And like I said, new beginnings. We got a new background. We just had a new logo animation. We've got a new producer up in the house, Miss Megan Indonesia Jones. Say hi to the Multiverse.
Hey guys, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's go. And Megan literally just joined. It was a rather I don't know, universal serendipitous moment where like we knew each other from a few years ago and just sort of connected, reconnected, and it was a perfect time for her to jump into something like this. So I'm super excited to have her on board. So look forward to seeing her in future episodes and future live streams. We also have the man himself, Mr. Shaman 711, co-host of the Shaman and Philosopher podcast, and our official delegate of the Institute of Natural Philosophy. Welcome, Jason Huffman.
Well, gosh, thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. Laphonso, Lakeisha, pleasure to be here. I know, Dave, we're part of the same Facebook group, Ancient Portals. And as you say, community building exercise. And you know, if you've watched my show, that's important to me. So, Dave, thank you, sir, for the invite. I have my tea, I have my candles lit, and I'm ready. I'm ready for a great conversation. Thank you very much.
Outstanding. And if you're in the chat, that's something you could you could check on for me, Megan. But if you're in the chat, say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, let us know, and we'll get to it. So the first thing I want to do is do a little promo. So first things first is my new editor, and thank goodness for this guy, Mr. Alexander Cheskovich. He's a Polish prodigy who wrote his first book on lost ancient civilizations at age 17 in Poland. Had to wait till he was 18 by law to publish it. It's an excellent book. He's also my editor. and he's doing a great job, and I'm really happy to have him on the team. So shout out. I call him Oleg because I always wanted a friend named Oleg, and he said I could call him Oleg. And so we got him. And then I just want to do a little promo for the multiverse before we get into ancient portals. So I had the honor and pleasure of interviewing Mr. Matt Bell of Limitless, who announced on my show that he's actually changing it from Limitless to the Matt Bell podcast. We talked about a bunch of fun stuff. I'm going to show a quick intro to that, and we'll check that out quick. So I need to stop screen sharing and re-screen share. Let's go.
Did you check out? Did you make it to Bell's? Did you get to see the department store?
No, I didn't. Jason and I were talking earlier today. So first of all, it's Bell's, which I've been calling it Beals this entire time.
I did, dude. I was doing the same thing.
You guys? Do you guys have
They
Bell's?
made that mistake. I've slipped up even after I've learned it.
Do you guys have those there in Arizona, guys? Beals or Bell's department store?
No, I don't. I
No, but I grew up in South Carolina, so I know of Bell's department store, if you're talking about that.
Oh, you're calling it Bell's. See, for some reason I was calling
The
it Beals.
right way, Dave.
Well, here's the CEO of Bell's department store and co-host of the newly branded Matt Bell podcast, showing up in the multiverse. Let's check it out.
Bravo.
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Building this robot, we're going to go up the Queen's Chamber North shaft. They found some difficulties as they began to start the Queen's Chamber North exploration project. They were attempting to go in October and start the project, get everything done, and then come back in December. And at that point, they were really going to have the thing completed in December, with the robot going all the way up, explore behind the blocking stone, and tell the world what's behind that blocking stone. I think there's definitely, I think that the possibility that humans were civilized and that they were doing stuff and building with big rocks at some point in the last 1 million years or whatever, I mean, it's I think it's not a certainty to me, but I think it's a very high probability. Matt's convinced that the civilization began 45 to 50,000 years ago. And that they were building the pyramids by about 38,000 years ago. And he sees that, there's the two possibilities with the Sphinx and the alignment of the Sphinx.
The more we look into this stuff and the more different minds from different backgrounds and different disciplines we put on this thing, and the more resources we put into it that are sort of outside of the strictness of the academic realm, the more we see these connections.
Over 1 million years? I mean, would we have any record of that if it did exist today? No, absolutely. All that stuff would have been gone, washed away, wiped out. So nobody's ever shot themselves in the mouth with a shotgun after having more than a lethal dose of heroin within their system, like 8 times a lethal dose of heroin or something crazy like that. Nobody can pull a shotgun trigger that's as tall as they are and shoot themselves in the mouth after that happened.
So, man, we got into
Fair
a bunch of cool topics, cool subjects, but I didn't know he was even working on the Kurt Cobain case. So that's what that was about. But he literally put his own resources and time and effort into pushing new evidence to the Seattle PD and just kind of left it there, which was a really interesting portion of the episode. But did you guys, anyone catch the episode at all? And what did you think?
I did
No,
not.
we-
I was familiar with him working on the Kurt Cobain case, of course, because that's my middle school experience.
Same.
Yeah, I had girls in my school that had the lyrics written on written on their arms. They came to school with after that had happened. So no, I had caught on my X feed that Mr. Bell was indeed getting himself involved in sorting out did he off himself or not. And I know there are some pretty strong leanings, indications, and evidence to the fact that he did not. Outside of it's kind of hard to do it to yourself when you're overdosed on heroin and shotgun. Yeah.
Yeah. What he ran into was, and he explained on the show, and he's very careful to explain that there was just a few family members that were uncomfortable with him having the episodes up, so ended up taking him down. But he's out, but the Seattle PD has everything, and it was very interesting. The other thing was the big void update, and we got an update that Zahi Hawass is moving away from the big void and going to another area to use some of the resources. He's still willing to pay for it, and the intention is still to go into the big void. But I'm really excited about that. Are you guys excited about what the heck's in there or what?
Dude, I've been staring at that block with the two little handles on it my whole life. I don't understand why we don't know what's behind it. Go ahead, guess. Go ahead. Yeah, talk to us.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's that would be really interesting. They go ahead and crack it open and see what's back there. There's no telling what might be found.
It's true. It could just be another I don't know, ancient or another grand gallery. There could be like a whole treasure trove in there. Could have all the answers. Who knows? Hopefully we find out in the next little while. The next thing I wanted to show.
Instruction manual. That's what we're all over.
I know, right? Like, how the hell did you guys do this? It literally says in hieroglyph, this is how the hell we did this. Right. The next thing I'm going to show quick before we get into our guests is I just wanted to show a brief clip of something from an upcoming episode dropping on Friday with Mr. Jason Huffman. I had the pleasure of recording an episode with him. And so let's go ahead and share that. I think I got to share entire screen for this. So sorry if this looks terrible all of a sudden. There we go. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that?
No,
I don't see anything. That's good. There's no telling what I said, Dave. I'm not sure I'm ready for you to air this thing.
There it is. I just took the part from the cheap Tuscaloosa part. There we go. Yeah. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear that?
No.
Oh no. Okay. Either way, I tried. There was another way that I wanted to do that, but that's the way it goes. It didn't work. But Jason came on the show and he told us, a lot about himself, a lot about how he got where he was, or how he came from where he was to where he is today, and why he's doing the podcast and why he's looking into ancient history. And it was a really meaningful connection and conversation for me. Plus, I learned a lot about there's like ancient sites in Alabama that I didn't even know were there. So,
yeah, same. It was a great conversation, David. It meant a lot to me too, man. You had me talking about things I haven't even talked to myself about in a long time. We were reminiscing about my time in New York City. Gosh, I think we talked about elementary school. I don't know. Dave and I were roommates, for those that don't know, for the brief 3 days we spent out in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Quest for Ancient Civs conference. So yeah, we quickly, you get thrown together like that. You sort out some basics about each other. So he had me relaxed. I might have said too much. I don't know. We'll find out Friday. Tune in.
Yes, please tune in. And enough about us. We're here. This is about community and our guests and portals on Facebook. So the first thing I wanted to ask you guys, I wanted to ask Laphonso, because it's on your page. It says, there's a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson, says, "Science is true whether or not you believe in it." Why'd you choose that quote, Laphonso?
Because that's absolutely true. Well, actually, a big part of our process is to try to combine science with ancient information, ancient history, to try to find displayable answers. And science is a really awesome tool to use in combination with ancient writings, even like the ancient structures, because that's how I think we're eventually going to actually find the answers. I think the two things separate make it twice as hard. But if you combine the two, I believe, you can find, interesting way to connect both areas, to get to the displayable answers.
And that's what we're all looking for, right, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. We at the Institute, how do they say it? Bring the past to the present. And my own personal saying that I sort of threw together was our best future requires the truth of our past. I firmly believe that, guys. Until we know the truth of what all we've done, we don't know what we can do. And so we got to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, and Laphonso said something important about combining this stuff, and the only way we can combine it is if we grow a community and we work together. And I really feel like that's one of the most important things. And I see a lot of this, people arguing on Facebook or X and blocking each other and dumb stuff like that just because they disagree. And the reality is none of us really know. We're trying to piece together the ancient past and the secrets of what it means to be a human, and it's very complex, right? And so I like the idea of putting science together with ancient knowledge and that kind of thing. But I know you guys have an interesting story. How did you guys meet? I'd like you guys to share that, if you don't mind.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, it all
On the spot.
They are deciding how honest to be instantly. You can see them. You can see the look at each other's face.
Way back in the day, pretty much, I was 31 years old, and I was, single guy, kind of living in a little shack type house by myself, and I decided to put in an ad to try to end my,
Loneliness.
Yeah, there you go. And,
isolation.
Now, I put
Like
in
an ad where, like in the
It was
paper?
in a newspaper.
Oh
It was
wow,
called The
amazing!
Advertiser.
I love it. I
And-
absolutely love it.
The personals,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, so I put in an ad. I was actually threatened by one of my friends. It was like I had a friend that told me, you know what? I'm just going to put out an ad, for you. And I was like, no, don't do that.
I don't want you
No,
wording
no.
it. I'll handle it. Okay.
And so that, but it kind of planted a seed in me. So I'm like, maybe I should try this. And so I picked up this newspaper. I mean, the ones dropped off at your, in front of your house every day.
Right. I used to deliver
And I
those.
kind of, and I saw, and so I, called and I placed the ad. And pretty much I
went on
went
a
on.
few dates.
Yeah, I went on a few dates, and
Don't forget that.
yeah, wasn't happy with what I found, and then when she called, we had a great conversation. I mean, it was just boom, it kind of clicked. And
we're talking about back in the day. I know Match.com was up there and everything, but it wasn't as popular. So we're talking on the phone, and there's no photos, nothing.
Right.
And you're just going off of communication. So yeah, we had a lot of things in common, and it just came natural. And then we met up at
a dance club.
Yeah.
Dance club.
I brought my friend with me because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. And then, you never know what you're going to get. So we went there to a dance club restaurant. It was a kind of upscale, nice restaurant.
Kind of a combination. It was like a restaurant that turned into a dance club.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm with my friend.
But because the two of you were there, I'm certain of it. That's why it turned into a dance club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm with my friend, and we're waiting for him to come. And this guy comes up to me, up to the table, and he starts turning towards me like he wants to talk. And I'm giving short answers, and I'm kind of freaking out because I have this one coming, and it didn't matter what he looked like or anything. I was just like so impressed with how we were communicating over the phone. That I was just waiting for him. So my friend, she was across the table, and she was starting to get the hint. Okay, she's doing this short little talk to him and kind of turning away. So she got up and just took him home.
Wingman. That's your wingman.
Yeah. And then she just came back, and then we were talking, and then she turned around towards the door, and she said, "Oh, that has to be him." And then I had my head down, and then she was like, "Oh my goodness, he's gorgeous." But then, so yeah,
He's
came up
blushing
and
over
then-
there. He's blushing.
But it was because he talked good on the phone, huh? Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yes.
It's both.
Yes.
It's both. It's both.
Yeah. So yeah, and then it went off from there.
And I gotta know, did Laphonso show off his dance moves, or does he got any, or what was going on there?
Yes.
Now,
good.
now the thing that impressed me the most is, we're in a dance club and I'm just now meeting her. The first thing she wants to do is buy me a beer. And, I'm kind of, whoa, like, usually, and I'm like, wow. So right away I knew she's a person that thinks of others before herself. So that was the
there you
boom.
go.
I mean, she kind of had me at that point, I believe. But
I think you sure she didn't want to get you home? I saw her face just now when she described walking in and seeing you, and I think the agenda with that beer might have been less than chivalrous.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
A bit of both intentions.
A bit of both. It's obvious. I make jokes, guys, and you'll learn quickly. I only joke because it's obvious the connection was there, and I appreciate you guys leading with that. The phone, and it's obvious to us, that's the only thing Dave and I have talked about you was what a beautiful couple, so please mind the jokes for the audience.
Oh gosh, we're good. Yeah,
we ended up dancing for 5 straight songs because I'm a dancer and love to dance, and and she just stayed out there with me for 5 straight songs. We danced, and I'm just like, wow.
The one she's
and some moves, and so from there, it's just great conversation.
Excellent. And so was one of the things you connected over like interest in ancient topics like this, or is this something that developed later?
Not too far later. So right there when we first met, we touched on it, and then soon thereafter, and we just figured out that we both love finding about scientific discoveries and history. So we just enjoyed ourselves by watching the Science Channel, History Channel, watch the late great Eric von Daniken and Georgios Tsoukalos and all of them from back in the day, back in the mid-2000s then.
Graham Hancock, I got all his books up there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's about all you'll find back here. Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Pyramid Code together? Have you ever seen the Pyramid Code? If not, you gotta watch it. Oh my gosh, you gotta watch it. That's how I first discovered Laird Scranton, because he's got a few parts on the Pyramid Code. So when I met, so I saw him on the Pyramid Code, like I said, mid 2000s. That was one of I probably watched that 100 times. And then all of a sudden somebody introduced me when we first started the show. Somebody introduced me to him, and I'm like, "Are you serious, Laird Scranton?" And so we got to chatting, and he's been on the show like 5 times. He's also an inspiration for you guys and what you guys do as well, right?
Yes. We
Laird Scranton. This is the symbol.
Yeah,
for
we saw him on Gaia much later. During the
I didn't know my daughters knew who Laird Scranton was, because they do that to me all the time. I didn't realize what that
was. and we also got M for multiverse. This is
I love it. Yeah,
right here.
Boom. Yes, I'm gonna start dropping that when we first go live. I used to do the peace signs, but I think I'm gonna switch to Multiverse Live. That's better, right? Maybe that. I don't know. I'll figure something out. I like it.
Now, the funniest thing about how we kind of came across Laird Scranton is what was it? It was last year. In 2024, right? 2024. I was doing my first video. I was doing it on a Dogon tribe. So I'm trying to find as much information as possible, and I can't find anything. And so we had recently, we had been, on Gaia, on the Gaia network, watching like different shows, and I just put like Dogon tribe in like the search names, and then I kept seeing Laird Scranton.
Laird Scranton.
You know?
Laird Scranton.
And I watched his interview, right, with Nori.
North.
Yep,
Okay.
on Beyond Belief. And I'm like, oh wow, because and I started hearing some stuff I had never, and I'm like copying,
Right.
like, and I added it to my video, and I'm thinking I know all this information about the Dogon, and so I was like, wow, I got to figure out a way to find this guy, and so I looked on Facebook and I saw, so I started following him, and then I put my little video together, and then when we posted it, and like we started sharing it to like multiple groups, right? And I was getting all kinds of good comments, and then and also some crazy comments, and the Laird Scranton himself commented
I'm back.
underneath it, and it blew my mind. It
Welcome
freaked
back,
me
Dave.
out. I was just like, oh, and
It's beautiful.
He's like, but the thing is, it was a little bit more of a like, he was like, this information is much more complex and deeper, than
And
you
it
realize.
is.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm just like, and I realized who it was, and I just clicked heart, and I'm like, oh, thank you, and I like give him all kinds of compliments, and he actually added me as a friend, and so I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I was running through the house, and I'm like
Oh,
telling
yeah.
everybody.
Coming up to me and my mother saying, okay, what do I
What-
say next? What do I
What's
say
our
next?
timeline on this? How far into the love story now are we with this?
It's the
I
love
know,
story.
right?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And then you talk about how
Yeah,
you two are in the comment section of Laird's post.
yeah.
They're just going at it with other people that are kind
Yeah.
of debunking some things,
Or
trying
trying
to say that
Trying to.
the Dogon
Yeah.
didn't come up with this. They must have gotten it from the Europeans or
Yeah.
Western world or something like that. And so Laird and Fonz
But-
are combating that.
But
Mhm.
yeah, it's I would kind of jump in and kind of fight with them a little bit, whenever I'd see them, and the thing is, I found out is like just about every group that I was in, Laird was in. I'm like, wow, he's everywhere. And
I don't know how old he is, but he's hard at work. He still goes at it all day long. So respect to Laird. He might even be in the
Yeah.
chat. I invited him to the chat. Let's check it out. I
Dave,
just want to say hi to the chat.
I'm woefully ignorant, and I don't know if any of our audience members are the same way. But what is it I'm going to know Mr. Scranton for? Mostly as a layman.
Go for it, Laphonso.
oh gosh, just simply do a Google search about
Okay.
anything Dogon, and Google will say researcher Laird Scranton.
And when you're talking Dogon, you're talking about the tribes who
The Dogon
had some
tribe.
sort of representation of I don't know,
Political
weird looking
difference.
creatures. Is that correct? That were possibly alien or something along that line?
Yeah, they talk about that the ancient knowledge was passed to them by they call them the nomos, and a part of what I kind of do is I'm trying to figure out if for one, if the Dogon tribe are the actual ancestors of the original ancient Egyptians. And I'm trying to figure out if this Nomo that they're talking about, are they the Anunnaki? And I'm trying to, piece together some things in that way in my info collecting, but I'm at the very beginning stages of it. So lots that I need to still learn.
And also about Sirius C.
Yeah. And one of the biggest mysteries, like we all know that they, identified the Sirius B star, before,
That's right. Okay. They had a star map, right, or something
Right.
that we modernly could tell that they had this knowledge well before they should have. Right. Okay.
Right.
I
Now,
do have that back in here somewhere. So on my show, guys, if you haven't watched it, I try to carry the load of the layman in the audience. So forgive the stupid questions, but they'll come out just to
Fine.
make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. This is great.
Now, the biggest thing I've been trying to hunt down is because the Dogon mentioned a Sirius C, and that star hasn't been found. Now, the weird thing is, like, literally when we were doing the research for the video that we did in 2024, I was seeing information that Sirius C was discovered in like 1997. But then you fast forward like a year, if you look up, has there been a Sirius C found? All of a sudden it's gone. It's like it's not even on the internet. And the thing is I'm kind of, on the hunt, trying to find any more displayable evidence that I can find of this Sirius C.
That sounds believable. If it was in the timeline, I've learned studying all this stuff about Native Americans, man, and what they were doing in the 1800s. And if something, I don't know what was happening in 97, but if it was in the timeline of when they were trying to really, the Dogon were making an argument, whatever, if, culturally suppress the fact that these guys had this knowledge, then yeah, maybe they did wipe it. Who knows?
Yeah, Richard Dullum, shout out. He's always here. Tammy, 757, Skywatch signal took off, but I guess he's coming back or something. But I just wanted to shout everyone out. Richard Dullum says, I love the Nomos and the Sky Stones. Dogon knew the impossible. Let me switch this back out. Let's trade Shaman for, we're a little mixed up right
What's
now.
up, chat? Yeah. What am I doing?
Hold on, I think I got it fixed.
My show's Friday.
I don't know what the Nomos and the Sky Stones are. Do you guys? I don't.
I'm looking them up.
I haven't heard of this.
Richard, let us know. Richard, let us know. Drop it in the chat. So the Dogon has been part of your research. Why did you originally choose the Dogon to look into?
It goes from my childhood. It's like the first time I encountered him was on an episode of In Search of, and when I saw that they were able to describe the colors of planets, that kind of blew my mind, a little bit.
You think?
It just really kind of hit me. It stuck in my head. As a little kid, I was around 8 years old.
So they did an episode of the Dogon on In Search of?
Yes.
I swear I've seen every single episode of that. I'm gonna go back because that was one of my inspirations as well for just getting into these kinds of topics is In Search of. But so you saw them on the Dogon tribe episode on In Search of, like way back when they were airing.
Yeah.
And you were 8.
Yeah, when I was about 8 years old, and it's like at age 8, my two biggest goals in life: one, I was going to find Bigfoot. 2, I was going to find aliens.
Aliens and Bigfoot.
Yes, that was it. At 8 years old, and that's how it started. For
Life
me.
Goals. Life goals.
And
I feel that, dude.
So do I.
Yeah.
I think everyone listening does probably. Yeah.
And see, the thing is, I've already found the aliens. I've found enough displayable evidence that aliens are real. And as far as Bigfoot, I'm on the hunt of collecting information. One thing I've noticed is across the planet, we have 6,000 giant burial mounds that are known.
Yeah.
And over 4,000 of them are in the United States that are known. That's really bizarre. Now, there's a huge cluster of it that are in the like Ohio, West Virginia area.
Midwest,
I was born in West Virginia.
Okay.
And I grew up. I never heard of giant burial mounds.
Same. I was born in Iowa, and Greg Little just sent me a picture of like new mounds they just found in Iowa. We're literally in my backyard, you know, and yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And I kind of, I make the connection because we've got, multiple ancient cultures that describe giants. In the oldest known writings in human history, the ancient Sumerians, that we know so far, they describe a giant race, of aliens that came from another planet. And now the thing is, and if you look at just the United States history, there's multiple newspaper, clippings, from, like 150 years ago that describe giant bones being found in these mounds. And then we even actually have some pictures. And then then the Smithsonian shows up and the bones disappear.
Right.
And
It's a cover up.
I had this conversation earlier with Morgan, who was presenting on the Scythians and in much of the Asian steppe and, the Silk Road area. And he was talking about, of course, legends of giants there. But, even in my area of study, the De Soto Chronicles, you have all of the chroniclers describing independently and quite emphatically 7.5 to 8.5, somewhere in that ballpark, feeted individuals who were well proportioned, not subject to gigantism. Just large, massive human beings. So the word giant, it depends on what you mean, but I think we have enough, as you say, verifiable reports from early on in American archaeology and from these first-hand explorers all over the American continent, both north and south, reporting exceptionally tall, 7 to 8 foot individuals on the regular, really.
wow, yeah.
Did you guys know there was? Go ahead. You go.
Oh, one of my dream scenarios eventually, if I ever get to the point where I have funding, I would love to try to hire like a forensic science team and try to see if we could, pick out like some of these mounds that, could they figure out if there was a dead body there, buried in there? Because I know that modern forensic scientists, they can determine these things. There may be some type of a trace of something that can be found. I mean,
Well,
I think I found one, dude.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, really.
shout out Greg Little and all of his work mapping all this stuff. His new encyclopedia comes out soon. He's jumping into the multiverse in a couple weeks for an episode.
Oh wow.
He will blow your mind. He will blow your mind. I can't speak highly enough about Greg Little and what he's doing for the mound culture and for bringing that to the forefront. Honestly, as Dave alluded to, in this country, guys, we're not taught about the mound culture. We're really not. And the reasons we could go on all day about. But guys like Greg Little, regardless of anything else, the job they do at showcasing how pervasive, massive, and advanced this culture was can't be overstated. Greg Little's a great guy. He'll blow your mind.
Yeah, can't wait to talk to him. And so you were, you were connected. We asked you how you got in, why the Dogon, and you were talking about ancient mounds in North America, and you started finding connections, didn't you?
Yeah.
Connect across cultures.
Yeah, pretty much. When it comes to like the giant mounds, the most bizarre thing that I find is there are over 6,000 known across the planet, and not a single one of them have any remains in them. How is that possible? 6,000 of them, and there's nothing. What were people doing? Just digging these mounds up, or and just leaving them empty? No.
6,000 what?
About 6,000 giant burial mounds across the planet, pretty much.
Cross cultures, got it.
Yeah, cross cultures. Yeah. And
So
so
is it similar to pyramids where they're not actually finding remains in them? The
Yeah,
mound?
it's like they always say, oh, the pyramids are burials, but they've never actually found mummies in them.
Wondering with the mounds, could there have been another purpose? Like, were they similar technology somehow and not actually burial mounds if we're not finding bodies in them?
Mhm.
That's one thing. Yeah.
Just a thought,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
It's-
think the one thing as far as the ones in the United States is that we have like hundreds of old newspaper clippings of giant bones being found,
Okay,
but they're nowhere to be found now.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
Shaman mentioned the accounts of the conquistadors. Did you guys know that there was giants in Aruba?
Heather Arnold's work.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
I'm
But
actually
I
going to
haven't-
show something quick because I just talked to Heather Arnold and my editor put together a sweet little montage of the video. But giants in Aruba, guys, I'm going to share this real quick. Look, these are whatever you want to call, whatever your definition of a giant is. These people saw like people that were much larger in stature than they were used to, and
I've done a show with Heather, and I think they even described these as roughly the same size as the first explorers were describing the guys in the southeast. And, Aruba is really where I sit in Alabama. Aruba is due south, right? Just on the other coast, on Venezuela. And they described them all as about half of Vara. So you're talking 8 to 9 feet, 8.5, something like that.
All right, let's go ahead and play this quick just because this one dropped a couple weeks ago.
Start to come after Vespucci, and Vespucci and the men start to retreat and go back to their ship as quickly as possible. And all the while, the giants are behind him and following, and he was taking one step and they would take 3 steps. I mean, these were massive people, or he would take 3 steps, they would take 1 step. They were so large. And then once they got to the water, and they're going on their ship back to the ship, the giants still were walking in the water because they were so tall. These islands were called the Islands of the Giants, and these are 2 skulls of the giants who lived here, who were over 7 feet tall.
They've got a skull in Aruba that's a giant skull, and I mean, obviously, my AI is a little exaggerated, but they were large enough for them to be terrified. So that is wild. Yeah, giant, and it's a global connection. Bringing back to what you were talking about Bigfoot and the search for him. Could that be just what we're looking for? I don't know. And another missing link.
Yeah. The natives described 2 different race of giants. They said that one had, kind of distinctive red hair, and the other had distinctive dark hair, and that those two races of giants would fight each other, is what they described. And I think eventually the red-headed ones maybe are wiped out, the ones with the dark hair eventually, because they seem to kind of vanish from, the natives describing them. And then you're kind of left with the red hair.
This is out in like the Chaco Canyon area in the desert. I mean, yeah, precisely. And if I'm remembering right, Dave, that you can there's stories of archaeologists finding this cave, and it looks as though something had barricaded something in, or barricaded itself in, is the better way to say it. And they found gigantic like hemp or rope sandals, so there's credence, there's real, there's crumbles of real evidence to this native story of these giants that hid in a cave, which seemed like to me, I mean, if you're already buying into antediluvian world, mythology or fact, whichever side of the tale you land on, you've come up against this giant thing, right? And when I look at the work of like Heather in Aruba, looking at Vespucci, original explorer, and I look at all the firsthand accounts of the Soto Chronicles, and they all tell me without a doubt that there were these individuals that their measurement was a vara, and a vara is roughly a meter, a yard, right? 3 feet. something like that. And they were consistently reporting running into these beings, right? And not, regularly, that were a half of Ara, taller and not weird looking, giant and muscular and properly proportioned. In fact, oftentimes the word they use is handsome. About these people, the men or women, they were just good looking as well as giant.
My own personal work over in Indonesia has brought me to some fascinating artifacts that are not made for people our size either. They're made of meteorite iron, and there's these giant tridents and we think jewelry and things like that like no one our size could comfortably operate. So I'm very intrigued by all that.
That's right. Danny Hillman showed us a picture of that giant trident. Can you find that?
I'll see.
See if you
that
can
might be tricky right now, but
no worries if you can't find it. But there's a picture of Danny Hillman, Natawajaja, is that how you say it? Holding this massive, you could, a normal man couldn't wield it. If you gave it to The Rock, he would have a tough time. He might be able to do it, but he would have a tough time.
Even the jewelry I had at the conference, you put that necklace on and you're there's no way.
I have one question for you. Do they have any idea how old the trident is by any chance?
So the story is that they've been fishing them out of the sea around the island of Java, and we still need to do some in-depth lab research to try and figure out if we can give them at least a time period, whether they were made 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago. But this stuff has been in the ocean for a really long time and it's still in really good shape, considering. So we're really hoping to do some in-depth testing to get a time zone, because we're hunting for Atlantis over there. So we're really old.
What I find fascinating about that is, according to the ancient Sumerians, Enki was said to have some type of a trident. And it's believed that this is what eventually led to the, you could say Zeus and, Poseidon, when the Romans and the Greeks kind of, started, tampering into finding out about the ancient information. And they think this may be the reason why, Zeus and Poseidon was created. But that trident is. I would love to see or know more about that.
I'm gonna email it to myself and see if I can pop them up here in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if not, go back and watch my old episode with Megan and Danny. Megan works on Danny's archaeological team over there in Indonesia.
Well,
sort of.
That's not quite accurate, but.
Well, what is it that you do? You do something. You're always over there.
Basically, Danny has a geology team, and then Ali Akbar has an archaeology team, and I've just been very welcomed into exploring with them, and I'm conducting an energetic study on the pyramid just with their guidance. I wouldn't quite say, I wish I was actually on the team, maybe one day.
I say you're on the team.
I'm accepted into the team environment, that's for sure.
The pyramid she's talking about is Gunung Padang, which might be the oldest pyramid on Earth. You've been there, eh?
Oh, I have definitely been there. I spent 10 straight days out there. And I had the opportunity to camp on it, but then my health shifted. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to be camping on it at some point, right on top.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that would be a beautiful experience.
I hope to do
super jealous.
I'm hoping to set up a group thing. So you guys hit me up if you want in on that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
The biggest thing that I'm really curious about is I don't know if I've, heard some false information, but I've heard people say about 24,000 years old, potentially.
You know what? It could be even later dated on with the carbon dating. 20 to 27, I think, is what they're looking at. But we need to do more core drills to get more information. It's pretty expensive to do all that stuff. But Danny's definitely not quitting until he gets to the bottom of this.
Okay. Now, my biggest level of curiosity about that would be what type of rock has been found? Like, is it granite or
It's columnar basalt. So
basalt? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So and I believe that basalt is that a 6 on the measurement of hardness scale?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't
About
know
a
that off
6,
the top of my head.
right?
Yeah,
I believe it is. It's
Let's
about a
ask Brock.
6.
yeah,
It's as hard as granite. Now, see,
yeah,
that's important because I mean, 24,000 years ago, 27, there's no known tools found strong
yeah.
enough to work on that rock. And you find this same pattern with ancient structures across the planet.
Yes.
That's what we're into.
Yeah, and see, that's what I do. I like a part of my process is I try to collect information and then connect the dots with it, and then just display what I find, and there's a pattern, and see that's the most fascinating thing for me.
We definitely got to get you guys over to Indonesia. You would love it.
Oh,
Wow.
sign us up, because
Perfect.
yeah.
You sent me some pictures of some connections you made and whatnot, and also like we were talking about how you got into the topic and with In Search of and stuff at a very young age. Did you continue to stay engaged in this topic like your whole life, or did like life happen and then like you stopped for a while, or have you been always digging into this?
Gosh.
I'm gonna compound question if you guys can go with Dave's and finish with because my question is always about passion. When I see individual researchers who have any topic that they're constantly on, is just what is it that has you so full of this energy to be self-motivated and doing what you do?
My our ultimate goal is to simply find displayable evidence that can prove that aliens are real.
See, the 8-year-old thing. See, I got it. Yeah.
And find out who we are and what we are. And like for me, it what kind of started that was I think it was at 8 because I really just dove into science because that was the only way, the modern religions that, I couldn't get any answers to anything in science. I'm like, oh, they actually showed me how they, found that out. So I'm like, huh, and by age 13, I wanted to be an astronomer. I actually got my parents bought me my first telescope, and I found Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and I was fascinated by like the stars and like how they're all like different colors, and that means different temperatures, different sizes, and stuff like that, and from there it just kind of I was always into science. I was really into trying to find ancient man. Like any documentary, anything I could get with, Neanderthals and anything I could find, but they rarely ever appeared on TV, and so I just I had to wait around for when something appeared, and the biggest problem I had was access to knowledge. Like and I grew up, and by the time I found out about the Anunnaki and the ancient Sumerians. I was like in my 30s and 40s, right? And that blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute here. We have the ancient Sumerians. They have the oldest known writings. And how's this not taught to people? And the thing that really blew my mind about the ancient Sumerians is that not only is the oldest known writings found in human history, but they also created the concept of time that we currently use worldwide today. That time frame was that system was so accurate that it's used today, like over what 6,000 years later. Now, the interesting thing about that is they also tell us that there's a race of giants, they call the Anunnaki, that came here and created us, right? That's what, according to their words. Now, they give us time frames. I believe the time frames that the ancient Sumerians put into their tablets is the key to finding the displayable evidence. For instance, they say that they put in stone and that we were created 200,000 years ago, right? Now, 200,000 years ago is when modern science says modern humans first appeared.
Yes.
Science matching,
it's getting pushed a little. I think where we've got hints that we, those of us on the fringe can probably say are pretty solid, up to about 350 or so, I think. And
Most
then
recently, a fireplace was found in Turkey. I believe could be 400,000 years old.
Yeah, we're getting back. It's obvious as you, Laphonso, as you're describing and answering our question about passion, why I'm grinning so much. It's obvious that from the get-go, you've had this, let's call it an intuitive sort of curiosity, right?
Yeah.
That there was more to the official story. You use the word aliens, and people use that word all the time. And I think especially when we get back to like the Sumerians, I think it's really interesting when you get into different translations of what they're saying about these things called the Anunnaki, that sometimes it can be read as though they're coming from the sea rather than from the air, right? Now that's just, an interpretation, right? So, where I'm kind of going is what is it we mean when we're saying alien, right? I think most people, because if we grew up in Gen Xers and, Dave, I know you watch movies like me, you think E.T., you think from another planet, but these days, I don't know. I don't want to start putting words in your mouth or give you my answer. But what are we talking about it when we say the word alien, or is that just part of the hunt we're on?
Pretty much, according to one translation, is that they came from a planet Nibiru, and that they supposedly came here to mine gold.
Right.
For their planet, the atmosphere was dying. Now, that kind of connects, I think, to you remember how I said that there's 6,000 giant burial mounds across the planet, and we have like 4,000 in the United States. Now, most of those giant burial mounds are concentrated in areas where we mine today. We actually mine in the Ohio, West Virginia area. And what I've been trying to do is to see if I can find some type of displayable evidence, that those mounds that are empty, no bodies, may somehow connect to that story of
So you think there's a correlation between these potential giant beings or giant bodies and then what might be described as the Anunnaki in the Sumerian, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of on a hunt for. I'm looking for displayable evidence to connect them. Now, one thing to kind of get back to the time frame of the creation of humans, as one translation says, we look at not only just that the creators of the concept of time told us this, and they said they used this. They told us in SARS, which was and the Sumerians claim that the Anunnaki taught them this. When I look at what modern science says, they said that our DNA was fused, chromosome number 2, I believe, and they claim that this is the reason why we have 23 chromosomes in other primates, that we're supposed to be closely related to have 24. Now, one thing that I've kind of found is that, like, let's just take the Neanderthal, for instance. They also had 23 chromosomes, and we were able to successfully
interbreed with them. Yeah.
Now check this out.
We all have Neanderthal in us today.
Exactly.
I have like a higher percentage than most of the population of
Megan, wherever you're holing up for the apocalypse, I'm going to be there because the Neanderthals are probably going to.
I'm convinced.
Now here's the interesting part to that twist. Now, the ancient Sumerians in one of the translations say that modern humans were created 200,000 years ago. Science agrees with that. Science says that the Neanderthals, first appeared, they're saying, between 500,000 to 600,000 years ago, but there's no bodies found. The oldest known Neanderthal body was found in Spain 430,000 years ago in a cave in Spain. Now the thing is, the ancient Sumerians say that the Anunnaki first appeared. I've heard 500,000 years ago to 450,000 years ago. I believe that the Anunnaki created the Neanderthal when they first came here, and that's why the Neanderthal have 23 chromosomes just like we do, because what they did, according to the ancient Sumerians, is that they basically combined their DNA with a hominid ancestor to create us. Now, my thinking is we were able to breed with them. It kind of begins to start making sense. It's like, why can't we breed with a gorilla? But we were able to.
That sounds terrifying.
First of all, I think that sounds physically probably detrimental. There will body parts that will not make it out of that adventure. I assure you, my friend. That's probably one reason. You will not come out the same.
Erase that image from your head.
I think from my understanding, it seems like the science kind of bends towards Neanderthal and hominids being competitors, right? Over resources, and especially Neanderthals, because of their requirements for protein intake, became well known for human we'd call it, they weren't humans, it's not cannibalism, but for eating humans, and using them just as another source of meat because of their prowess, their ability to easily kill a human, so we were often in competition, but obviously if we were sharing DNA, we were getting along somewhere. But yeah, it's an interesting point you bring up, man, about the monkey. That's not. Dave and I. Go ahead, Laphonso. Go ahead.
That thought is brand. I mean, it's literally like about a week and a half. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, how is it possible that we were able to? We appeared 200,000 years ago, supposedly, but we're suddenly able to breed.
What's that fossil, Dave, that Michael Buttons did that story about it was a few weeks ago. It's nearly 1 million years old. It was not Homo sapien sapien, but it was a hominid bone skull that looks like you're pushing 1 million years on. It was in China. I remember that much.
I'm going to try to find it right now.
I don't know.
Also, this is a good time. Megan has scored the picture of the trident and Danny Hillman holding it. So while I look that up.
See here, I got a few just like insane weapons that are not made for our size of human. Let's see here.
I think, while you pull that up, all sorts of cultures, tell us it's not just Sumerians. If you look in Book of Enoch, which has strong Christian and Orthodox correlations, the words I think that are used in those translations are some being came from somewhere and, interbred with the wives of men. But that to
is
me
that?
could just as much be genetic engineering. What is that?
Yeah,
So
I have never
of a
seen.
can opener, or it's gonna just like wreck you. I think we said that was what we kept saying last time. This thing would wreck you.
So
This is
Danny,
good of like some of the heaviest iron you can find as well. So
Wow, that is
Okay.
so
incredible.
Danny found that where?
So Danny didn't specifically find it. There's this, you can see in the background of this photo, this minister has quite the eclectic collection. And he has gone around and collected like every artifact he can find. But these weapons specifically are just something else.
Wow.
Like it would be really hard pressed to find a blacksmith in the world that could create this now. And we're doing. We're gonna
Look
be
at that
doing
one.
to
What
find
the?
out more about it. Just insane. So these were found in the sea around the island of Java, the Java Sea.
Can you imagine coming across a 8-foot tall jack dude with one of those things? Like,
If that's not Atlantis in the middle there, I don't know what is. Come on.
And this is iron? Is this made out of
I
iron?
think it's like meteorite iron, and we need to confirm that. But
Oh,
coming from the geologist,
Oh,
he's
that's
pretty darn sure it's
extra.
meteorite.
That's nice.
And like even just this amount of iron in one place is unheard of at this day and age, which is
That
Yeah.
this one.
those-
I don't know how you zoom in, but it has like very much like a Quetzalcoatl type of like.
I
dude.
see the mouth. Yeah. Look at that. Wow.
Wow.
that is literally from outer space.
yeah.
Right, and
totally.
I have this
That's from outer
vision of. I have this vision of them being like energetic weapons, like you see Poseidon with like the bolts of lightning coming out the end of it. And I sent Danny this big long message being like, I'm having these visions of like lightning coming out of them, and sent him all these like comic book pictures, and he responded casually saying like, oh yeah, that's how it would work.
That's wild.
Just like
Shout-
no question.
Shout out to my mom. How to use that? Holy crap!
Mom.
Everyone say hi to
Hi,
my
Mom.
Debbie.
Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, Mom. Thanks for birthing this gentleman into the world, so that
Yes.
so that knowledge can be spread, for which the
Yes.
masses would rather us not be putting out there. Thank you, madam.
Michael Button. I'm looking up a Michael Button.
Yeah, that skull. It
million-year-old.
really pushes the timeline. But I mean, we can continue with even in, like I say, the Christian tradition. You've got these legends of something coming here, and it put it in those books as mating with, which is the word they use. But again, if you're an older civilization, a primitive civilization, and you see advanced science, it seems like magic or whatever. You use the word like mating. I don't know. They took the lady and she came back and she was pregnant. But maybe they were genetically, messing around, right? Was their way of putting it. But all the legends point to that being part of the reason for this cataclysmic reset we underwent. Was things were messing around with the things that were here in ways that they should not have been, whatever that translates as. I often, and I'm just filling air here because I think somebody's looking for something. I often translate. Look, Dave and I are involved with Mars Disclosure. We can plug Brian Corey Dobbs and John Ward. We're going to do a new podcast February 5th on Mars Disclosure. And like I'm always telling those guys, as we're looking at what looks like megalithic construction on Mars, I have no problem, with it all being human. Mars has a very different atmosphere. So if we, for instance, lived on Mars for generations, right, if there were atmosphere, we might be quite a bit bigger, right? And now what if that planet blew up and we came here, right? Would we be defined as aliens, as Anunnaki? Would we just be a little bit taller, but the same thing? I don't know. But I think somewhere in there we're barking on the truth of our past, no doubt.
Hey, here's the picture that you mentioned, but I wanted to shout out what Richard said. Lots of mammals were gigantic in the Ice Age. Why not humans? They're mammals as well. I've talked to a lot of people recently that say that, whatever cataclysm happened, Younger Dryas time could have affected likely did affect the gravity of Earth in some way, and making it so that it's harder for larger animals to survive, not only just wiping them out through the cataclysm. This is a post from Michael Button that says, new analysis suggests Homo erectus wasn't the only human species to leave Africa 1.8 million years ago. And, guys, shit just keeps getting older. And, you know, when the textbooks and the story and everything we were taught when we were younger was fine and everything, but it was presented to us as if these are the answers and you don't need to look for any more. And there is just, I think as humans, we know like maybe 1% of what there is to know, you know, in this gigantic universe.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
correct.
probably even drastically less than that.
Yeah. I'm just being nice. I'm just being nice. Yeah.
It's a negative number, Dave. It's a negative number.
Yeah, and that's why when I find people, that's why I like got people like you guys, because you guys give out great energy, and it's like there's no reason to like argue or be territorial about this stuff. Like it should be a global collaboration, because it was a global it was a species-wide collaboration to survive the ice age. And now we're sitting here on the internet talking from, you know, 4 different places on Earth and stuff like that. And so that collaboration should continue. You know, it's the suppression. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but like the information was suppressed on us in a organized way. And now, though, we live in a day and age where you can go find your own answers, right? Like, and that's what sounds like Laphonso is trying to do, which is my favorite thing. Like, you know, somebody who's just following their passion and looking for answers, right?
Amen. Yeah, that's what we're all doing. You
That
know,
sums us up, yeah.
Yeah, really. That's it. And to echo your point, yeah, man, community, you know, that's all my show. That's what we've been trying to do with it. I know, Dave, that's what you're doing. You know, and each of us has a piece, right? That's another thing I'm learning is everybody's got a piece. And as long as we're open to it. And the drama, yeah, Dave, you know, look, I'll put it this way. Even somebody I got in a little tiff with on X, because, I mean, he lied in public, and, you know, I figured I should point it out, and I did. But, you know, and then, of course, you get the debunker involved, and he starts sharing it, and you're like, oh, no, it's going to go somewhere, man. And the poor fella had to shut his X down for a day because of the response he got. But point is, he follows me now, and I follow him, and you know, we have a friendly discourse. You know, I set out to prove that I could have Dan Richards as a bud, and I could have archaeologists as buds. And, you know, we are all still humans out here. And we got to get to the end of the day of seeing this stuff as kind of like, I described it as like work. You can go to work and disagree over how to do something, but then when we get home and you crack your beer or I light my smoke and we've all got our kids and our dogs, we remember that we're human, and then we can truly advance, right? Because then we can disagree, and it's in these disagreements where I think we find the most growth. That has been my experience in this business.
Yeah, and Laphonso said something at the very beginning about science being a tool and not like an identity or like it's not an answer to everything. It's a tool. And it's my belief that the further back in time you go, the harder it is to get hard science on this stuff, which means that the archaeology and the cosmology that goes along with the archaeology, which is like all across the world, quite precise and impressive, needs to inform as evidence. Like people don't use those like ancient myths, ancient, you know, stories and stuff like that as evidence. But eventually, the further back in time you go, you have to.
Yes, that is it. In like a Nikola Tesla quote, the day that science embraces the non-physical, it will learn more in 1 decade than it has the entire history of science. And that's what I kind of pattern myself off of.
Once religion and science realized that they've both been chasing the same thing, you know, that's been the interesting part, I think, of probably the last like maybe a couple thousand years. Yeah, easy. Is watching these two things argue, you know.
It's the dog chasing its tail.
It is. And science became so anti-religious, right? And so anti-dogma that what they did was they ended up creating a dogma, right? And so now you look at scientists as a whole, the reason we see this drama is because they have taken now this thing called science, and they have created a religion, right? And so by being anti-religion, they went a little too far, and they created something themselves. But the more we realize that religion and science are just both trying to identify reality, right? And they both are accurate, you know. Yeah.
And they're both tools. They're both tools to look, try to understand what this is and why we're here and what the heck this thing is, right?
How many wavelengths of light can you see with your eyes? I forget, but it's like this many of the actual wavelength, right? So my eyes see this much of reality, yet somebody's going to tell me that if I can't see it, I don't believe it. Okay, well, guess what? My cat can see more than me. My cat can see more wavelengths. It can see more reality than me. So by this justification, my cat is better informed about seeing reality than I am. You know, that's where I am with science. Is our senses are quite limited, you know, but we do have things within us that open us up to these other realities.
And you mentioned earlier, Shaman, about the ocean and maybe some of this stuff being related to the ocean or an ancient civilization in the ocean or whatever. But we know what do they say? Less than 10% about the ocean, less than 10% about our own brain, less than 10% about the universe.
Dude, Congressman Tim Burchett where's he from? Tennessee is walking down the streets of Washington, D.C. on his cell phone telling you that he just came out of meetings about all the giant underwater bases and all the sightings that they have, all these USOs that go underwater, and our Navy doesn't know what the hell they are. We don't know what they are. And there is a representative of Congress telling me that these things are there. And now these ancient cultures, what did these ancient cultures tell me? Things came from the sea. Where was Quetzalcoatl? I don't know why. He went and slept in the sea at night. You know, and everybody draws him as a fish, right? So I don't think we're talking woo to start seeing correlations. If I'm listening to my congressman tell me it's real, he doesn't even know what it is, but he tells me it's there.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, Laphonso and Laphonso, you've been chasing aliens since you were 8. And, suddenly, 2017 rolls around, New York Times article, you get all these whistleblowers and stuff. It's something that I call modern UFO disclosure. And being formerly in the military, like Lakeisha, she understands that things in the military and in the larger system, get compartmentalized. And I have a hard time, trusting what I call modern UFO disclosure. I look at it. I'm watching with a curious but skeptical eye. What are your thoughts on the last 10 years or so with the Tic Tac coming out and Ryan Graves and all this stuff? This must be exciting for 8-year-old Laphonso, anyway.
Well, as far as that, our government basically. They are the biggest blocker. I mean, that's just the reality. They have the information. They may actually, I believe they have craft, themselves, and they have had it for decades. And there's more than enough evidence that suggests that it has to be. But when it comes to finding out if aliens are real, unavoidable, undeniable evidence was found in 2016. And this was in Peru. In a cave, there were 6 mummies that were found in Peru. One of the mummies that scientists named Maria. This alien, I think we gave you the picture of Maria. Now, Maria was found to have 3 fingers on each hand, 3 toes on each feet. And what scientists did is they conducted DNA testing and they carbon dated it. They verified through DNA testing, they tested different parts of the body and they verified that this was a real body. Now, what they found is that it was non-terrestrial DNA. The DNA didn't match anything on the planet, and it yielded results that showed no evolutionary path on planet Earth to reach this creature. And so, but from only thing that I've heard is that they DNA tested just one of them, one of the bodies. Now, the thing is with this body is they did CAT scans on it. It doesn't have ears. It resembles the alien from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that movie from 1977. It looks exactly like it. I mean, and it kind of makes you wonder about like movies, like, okay, what do these directors know? Now, the thing is,
Well, Hollywood was a CIA creation, so
exactly.
I mean, I mean, really, you can read the declassifieds now. It was so no telling what they were trying to your point, what they were trying to tell us through movies. I've had my own experiences with seeing things both in the daytime and the nighttime in the sky that you might describe as aerial phenomena or UFO or whatever. So I have my own opinions, but I also, like you, believe that watching the modern UFO disclosure, Dave, as you said, I think we're seeing a lot of psyop, because I do believe, as you said, Laphonso, that our government has craft that they wish we knew nothing of, yes. and so much of this is to disclose their testing and their use of these things. I mean, we just saw in Venezuela they used directed energy weapons.
Oh my gosh, that was terrifying.
Yes.
I mean,
I heard about that. Yes.
I'm out here playing around with my fucking iPhone. Excuse me. So sorry, Dave. But my government gets in my mouth and the words start coming out, and they're using directed energy weapons. So obviously, Laphonso, I think you're right. I think a lot of it is cover for what we have. And I think some of it, because of my own experiences, is something else.
Yeah, I remember here one of the whistleblowers, trying to remember his name right now, but Grush, under oath, he basically said that some of them some of them are really, really old. Like they found crafts at archaeological sites. And then you get into, stuff like the Grand Canyon, where you're like, which doesn't make any sense at all geologically.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to go into a certain part of it. And that's all due to, guess who? Everyone can guess, the Smithsonian. And so it's been this like massive cover up, and then slow drip of what they want us to know about what they've basically reverse engineered is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And to touch on that Grand Canyon area, when I first moved to Arizona, what was it, six years ago? That's one of the first things I started trying to collect around. And I kind of abandoned, what I was doing, because the massive structures found underneath the pyramids kind of, was like a shiny object that caught my attention, and that's where I really go to. But what I did is I was taking a look at I found out that there were 16 different native tribes in this region around the Grand Canyon. They all, and it includes the Hopi, have an origin story, all 16, that points to the Grand Canyon as the source of their origin. And that freaked me out, because I'm just like, wow, there's something there. There's something there.
There's something, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something there. And I kind of have a topic. I've been trying to collect what I call a topic is, were ancient Egyptians in the Americas in ancient times? And what I've done is I've went around and I'm collecting as much evidence as I've come across. There's a mummy in Egypt that had traces of, what was it, tobacco. In its DNA, and also some other stuff that's
cocaine
found. Yep, cocaine also.
Yeah.
And this.
Honestly, it had cocaine, and there was debate, because it was in the 70s. There was honest debate as to whether or not the cocaine was just contamination from whoever was examining it.
It
really was.
Yeah. That was bizarre, right? And And
They found corn in Egypt. Yeah, I mean there's all kinds of on my show we've been doing all this. You know, the Atlantic was crossed many times in both directions, if you ask me.
I totally agree. I totally don't think we have the whole story. Rhymes with
We had
no, wait.
boats. That's how I say it. We had boats. We thought like you and I, Laphonso, right, and Dave and Megan. We thought like us, and we had boats, and we had 100,000 years or so, and we had all this water. You think we didn't sort something out? I don't. I do.
Dr. Danny Hillman's working on revealing a sunken harbor that will just like destroy anyone saying there was not boats like a very, very long time ago. We're getting sonar, and it's gonna be some big news, like right between the island of Java and Sulawesi, like hardcore harbor, super ancient. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy here in America, guys. You listen, Ed Barnhart, who shout out Universe Unveiled. They've got an interview with the archaeologist Ed Barnhart right now going on. But I saw a preview, and I saw him talking about DeSoto and what he ran into in the Mississippi River, and he describes boats 2.5 stories tall, right? You know, hundreds of yards long, full of soldiers. What you and I would call an armada, right? Something they could not handle the amount of sea power they ran into on the Mississippi River, and it's nothing you and I have ever been told about. We never were told that the natives had something that we might call a destroyer, you know, for all of their arrowed warriors to patrol the territory on water. We've had boats. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna say textbooks. Our textbooks were literally created by the father of Rhymes with Belaine Craxwell, and so Belaine Craxwell's dad.
How does Flipstein make it into everything?
Yeah,
Ghislaine Maxwell's father, yes, Hamilton Maxwell.
So whatever you want to do with that, that's where we got our textbooks.
Mossad, yeah. It's like the CIA and international, yeah, exactly. It's all a psyop, guys.
Yeah, but the cool thing is we can start looking through it through ancient portals like Laphonso's Facebook page, where I share like all my interviews, and a bunch of other people share their stuff on there, and it's been like a really good place to like put things. And the community's really growing. I think you got like almost 6,000 followers, huh?
Well, actually, for the Ancient Portals business Facebook page, it has over 5,000. Okay. And then my Laphonso Woods account has over 5,000. It just blew up too. And all this has happened over the course of just 3 months. Wow. But the group.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's huge.
The group itself is at about 1,700 and is steadily growing. It's like the main goal is to, like in most groups, it's like taboo. They don't like to let people promote themselves. And I'm thinking, how are we going to learn anything? Like, please, everybody share as much content, because I'm a collector. And what I do is I'm like, I'm collecting from this person. I'm collecting from Jason. I'm collecting from Megan. And I'm taking it all together, and I'm trying to connect the dots. And the only way to do that is I'm like hunting down scientists, and I'm like becoming friends with them. Yeah. And then I'm like,
that's what Megan does.
Once I become friends with them, or I find out who they are, if I ever see them display anything, I'm sharing it to the group, and it's a public group, and I'm tagging their name. Mm-hmm. And that's like a double hit to the algorithm, and it makes that science. It puts us above everybody else's like little comments. That's like one hit to them. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is the scientists, they're seeing, or the researchers are seeing that, hey, who is this ancient portal sharing? Because we have figured out a way to push ourselves to the front of the line of being seen by them.
Well, and it comes up in their notifications. Yeah, so there's a method to our madness on there.
Yeah, of course.
And then we do get a benefit from that, because of the tagging, the names and everything. We end up being showed up to their friends.
Right.
whether they share our stuff or not. So
Right.
But the thing is, we get to see the information. It's like,
yeah,
and the thing is I'm trying to just reach as many, even up and coming scientists, even up and coming content sharers. I see some people that, I mean, literally have like 500 followers that are sharing like the most awesome stuff. And I'm like, oh, and I'm
Yes.
taking the name
Me.
and I'm tagging it into the group. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, because I take all this information and I'm adding it to my collection. And I'm just trying to create like just a zone where all this stuff can just be cross-shared and cross-learned. And for a lot of people, this is the only
Cross-learn.
chance they have in life of ever seeing this information.
it's
Yeah,
almost
no, you're so true, and I see all over you this passion that's been in you since a kid. And the words you said, I've heard a lot on my show. You said I went looking for the information and I couldn't find it. Right,
Yeah.
and so you're making sure that it's got a place to go, and definitely thank you from me. I know you've been letting me share some of my work there,
Yeah.
as well as Dave, and what you're seeing is community, building all around, and that's back to what Dave's doing here. That's so commendable. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys.
You know what's
I
funny,
do-
Jason?
Go ahead.
Every time you share something, it goes to our spam box, like spam, and I'm like, it's like, and I have to share it, and it's like, for some reason it won't appear as normal.
It's the
And then, like,
CIA, man.
And it is. Well, no, I've been sharing too much recently. It's probably what it is, because Ricardo and I have been. We said to heck with recording because we don't. I see you're using Restream. We use Riverside, and we were losing a bunch of content. When we'd upload it, so we said to heck with it. Let's go live. So it's like now you're probably getting 4 or 5 things a week from me, where you used to get one.
Same.
I'm trying to set it where, anytime you share, it automatically just, appears without having to be like approved. But for some reason, it keeps going to the wrong folder, the spam folder. I'm like,
I'll take a peek and see what I can do on my end, because I hate to know I'm causing you a spam headache, man.
well, as soon as it comes through, then I can just, bloop, I can approve you to, hey, it just flows free.
I don't really know how it works. I'll just go in there and like I'll always do you guys and then a handful of other ones that it might fit in. And it seems to just happen automatically, like almost immediately they get cross-posted.
we set them to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we set you automatically to post.
Yeah. Anytime you share anything, it just automatically.
Sweet. I love it. And I wanted to ask, because Lakeisha was telling me, so how did Laphonso drag you, Lakeisha, into this? Were you into this as well, or did he kind of get you into it? And how did that happen?
I want to say something. I want to say something before she starts. She is the reason that basically I'm basically spiritually awakened a few years ago with what she actually found. So go ahead.
So going back, I've always had a love of science and history, and with the science, my dad was an engineer, and so that's kind of like in my DNA to go ahead and enjoy something like that. And then with the history, I didn't like how limited the history books were in the schools. What you can see, especially when it comes to African culture. So when I got in my 20s, I joined a number of African American clubs to just get more information on the inventions that African Americans have done in America and all of the success they've done in America. But I also got a bonus of learning about Egypt, formerly known as Kemet, and learning about the Kushites, which were the ancient Ethiopians.
Yes.
That ruled Kemet in, I think it's 8 BC, and so they ruled, and of course Kemet, to anyone that didn't know, means black land, and that's because of the black soil deposits from the Nile River that were deposited because of flooding over time. And so that helped build a big civilization during that time. because of the soil and all the growth they could get from the vegetables and other things. And so, yeah, I just enjoyed learning about Egypt more, and I just thought to myself, there's not a problem in learning something outside of what you've already been taught. And so I see it as there's a difference between studying something and worshiping something, and it's okay to study
Yes.
all cultures, no matter
Yes.
what you worship. And I find that probably in the African American community, sometimes that they're kind of like one way, this way, and not looking left or right at anything else because of whatever fears they have. And I just wanted to share that I find no problem with that in studying about what's going on in Japan. How are they learning? What's their religion? And so, yeah, this has opened my eyes. And then in I think it was 2020, 2021, I found Gaia. And yeah, I didn't know about that. I was like, okay, so during the pandemic, while everyone's looking at all these other wild, wild reality shows, we were looking at Gaia.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and it's like, oh, more science, more science. I love it because I'm all about the theory and hypothesis, and just to show me the carbon dating. I'll take it.
COVID did do us some favors, didn't it? It did.
Yes, it did.
In hindsight, it did.
Yes, it did. So we listened to a number of speakers on there, and from there we found out about Billy Carson. Yeah. He was on there continuously, and he was being interviewed by Meredith, and then he mentioned his Forbidden Knowledge TV app. So they was like, okay, we're going there too. So we learned a lot from his TV app too in regards to he mentioned even the Dogon tribe and had information on that too.
I mean,
Yeah.
that information just kind of, it's just stuff I never seen or even heard of. When he starts like describing about the Anunnaki and it just like, I'm just like, wow. And so it really, it gave us an area to really focus on trying to find more information on.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, Billy's a great guy. Dave and I bumped into him out in Arizona. Structurally, materially, I disagree with much of his theory, and whatnot. But that doesn't. Again, we're back to the whole you can disagree, right? With people, and he seems like a really great dude, man. I mean, I shared a meal with him inadvertently, and we watched him. I mean, we just ended up at the same table, chilling out next to each other. And so I just got a good vibe for him, and we got to watch him move a crowd.
We did, so the couple of the headliners dropped out of that event, and he became the headliner, and so he delivered the keynote speech, and I gotta tell you, it was one hell of a speech, and there was no BS in there. It was mostly just like, hey, let's search for these answers together was his message. And so that's one of the reasons I like him so much. And to be fair, he's like him, Ancient Aliens, Graham Hancock. If I need a bedtime story, it's one of those guys. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. It just something about the way he talks, the way Graham talks, and like Ancient Aliens brings comfort. Brings me comfort.
That's wonderful.
My ex-girlfriend was the same way with Graham, man. She just put Graham on to go to sleep. His voice just puts him to sleep. Not in a bad way, like you said. It's just all comfortable feeling.
Has any of you guys watched Graham Hancock's Quest for the Lost Civilization? Quest for Ancient Civilization. Yeah, it's a documentary.
The Netflix special?
No, this is an old documentary
on BBC.
This is an old documentary. Megan, if you could pull up on a separate YouTube tab, Graham Hancock, Quest for the Lost Civilization. It's my favorite documentary of all time. It connects all these things across space and time. In a way, it was the documentary that opened my eyes the most. That like we don't have all the answers, and that history could be so much older than we think it is. Human history, I mean, obviously history goes back forever, but like our story is so much more complex and fascinating and interesting. And so just go ahead and drop it in the chat when you find it, Megan, just for anyone who's not looking. But you can find it on YouTube. I think it's like on some kind of weird Cambodia X something YouTube account or something like that.
So he did one with BBC as well in like the 90s on this book called Underworld that was really cool.
That book is on my nightstand right now. There's another one that's very similar. I suggest both you guys watch those. You can find them on YouTube, Quest for the Lost Civilization. And also, what's that one called? It's called Underworld, right? Right,
yeah,
Jason?
Underworld.
Okay.
Yeah.
He dives on Yonaguni monument in Japan in that documentary with the BBC, which is on YouTube. I watched all of it on YouTube. I think there's 2 to 3 episodes.
Yeah, the book. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was a child, I used to read books like constantly. In the modern times, plus going to 8 years of college and reading not for pleasure, has ruined my ability to read books. But I do pull open like guys like Graham and Robert Schoch all the time and just read segments just for fun, right?
Yeah.
And those guys have always been my inspiration. So
definitely.
Yeah, Lakeisha, you mentioned that you got into like kind of getting into making some Egyptian style soaps. Did you want to tell us about that quick?
Yes.
I'd love to hear about that. You're selling them too?
Yes. I started making soap in 2017, and I just enjoy the essential oils. And we did stop for a while, but brought it back to start a charity for one of our admins, Jaguar Pa, and just for thanking him for all of the great things he's done for sharing content on social media for a number of years. And so we made the Jaguar Pa soap here. I have one here.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Awesome.
And then the other one here. So this one has activated charcoal, which soothes the skin. And it also has lavender chamomile. Smells really good. And then this one right here has lemongrass in it. So this is more of an artesian soap. So we did that for him. Yeah. And
cool. Shout out Jaguar Pa.
Yes, he's awesome. So you can get the soaps. He also has a donation GoFundMe, and that would help him out a great deal for medical needs.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful! That's a good charity. Help out a friend.
Yes. So from there, I'm getting my Etsy store set up, and then I will have my other soaps. And one of them is like a Ancient Portals official soap, which is a green and black soap. And then the other one, I have a Queen Nefertiti soap, Scarab, and other artesian soaps I'll be selling in February through my Etsy store. So I have more information on the Facebook page.
Let me know when you got a lemon balm one, okay?
Okay.
That's my favorite. I love lemon balm. Guys, I really love what you're doing, and I love your curiosity. And briefly, Dave, I don't know what you're trying to do, but I want to echo what she said about faith, and certain people of faith, maybe in your community, sort of feeling like they had to limit their knowledge, limit their curiosity about the world around them for some particular reason. And I would like to echo what you said, that it's precisely not the case. There's a reason that I say, and I identify as Christian. I identify as many things, maybe not the type Christian that a lot of folks would identify with, See my talk Friday with Dave for more on that. But to me, God would definitely want us learning all about this world and all about all the people that have populated it, because the more we know about the truth of our past, the more we are prepared to be who we are now, and therefore bring about a much better future for all of us. So I love curiosity saved my life, guys. And I don't say that lightly, but my curiosity and being able to spend time finding stuff and doing all that while my life was falling apart is kind of what got me here. And seeing people celebrate their curiosity and doing it unashamedly and trying to get others to do the same is a beautiful thing. And I will take some lemon balm soap when it's ready. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right.
Very cool. Lakeisha sent me a series of photos. Did you want to go through those for a bit, or?
Okay. Are the ones on the Kushite?
Yeah, I'm gonna share screen quick. But this is just some of the stuff that you guys. That's right. Okay, I see it. This is the one. Boom. Is that it?
Yes, yes. So that's a depiction of Kushites, like the ancient Ethiopians that conquered Kemet, now Egypt, back then in 8 BC. And so I just wanted to touch on that because it's not talked about enough out there that Ethiopians and other countries in Africa were part of Egypt and contributed to the Egyptian culture, and that some of them actually wore those traditional Egyptian clothes that you see that are popular around today. So
yeah, and to me you had all these different cultures like all existing in very close proximity to what we call ancient Egypt. Through Africa, there's just no way that there wasn't cultural influence, especially through Ethiopia. I mean, they got a bunch of pyramids in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Who are all the tiny people in the picture? Are those?
No, why are they tiny? Like tiny adults.
Good question.
Looks like giants.
You sent me that one as well.
Yeah. Those are like a depiction of pharaohs. I know during that time, the king was Kashta, King Kashta, and Pyre.
Cool.
So
from Ethiopia.
From Ethiopia, yes, ancient Ethiopians.
And they ruled Egypt in, you said, the 8th century.
8 BC.
8
yes.
BC, yeah, my
and
bad.
then they were taken over by the Syrians, and the Syrians ruled. And then eventually it got to the Greeks, of course, and the Greeks changed the name to Egypt.
Right.
And yeah.
You know, it's the Ethiopian Bible that still contains the Book of Enoch. You know, the mod of the King James got rid of it, but those Ethiopians held on to it. Yeah.
Are these the soaps right here?
Yes, that's the Jaguar Par soap.
Yeah,
those are
Definitely
beautiful.
need a couple of those.
I know.
Mesoamerican Jaguar.
Looks like it's built-in scrubby is what it looks like.
So it's a side profile with the mouth open at the end there.
That's gorgeous. Those are really cool.
Thank you.
Those are really, really cool. And this is the picture of the mummy that Laphonso mentioned earlier. I'm sorry I can't make it bigger, but that's
Maria.
what she said. But that's the one you're talking about. And this is a subject that, like,
you said we weren't going to talk about that episode.
This is a subject that I'm trying to wrap my brain around lately, because there's a lot of, like, I know that some of there was like dozens of mummies, and some of them have been proven to be like very elaborate but very old hoaxes, which to me is not uninteresting. That doesn't mean it's not interesting. Like if somebody made a complex like tridactyl doll pieced together from other human bones and stuff 10,000 years ago, or however old the thing is supposed to be, that's interesting to me, whether it's real or not. But there are some. I just had this conversation with Jason's partner in crime over there at the Institute for Natural Philosophy and the Philosopher and the Shaman podcast. No, the Shaman and the Philosopher. I always say it backwards. Which one is it?
Shaman and the philosopher, and disclaimer: if you're about to give something you heard from Ricardo, I am not responsible for anything that comes out of his mouth.
According to Ricardo, there are at least 3 that are being and have been tested and are being tested by real scientists for the last couple of years, and they don't know what to make of them. And then that gets mixed in with both modern hoaxes and then what, like, I'm going to term not whatever was done in the past was not a hoax. It was done for idolatry reasons, in my opinion. Idol, because these tridactyl, because you can get in the weeds with this, okay? But these tridactyl symbology and cosmology is spread all across the earth. You can see these tridactyl depictions everywhere. And so this is one of those subjects where I'm like, I don't really know what to do with, because part of me wants to get those mummies and get them over to I don't know. I need to see them. I don't know what I would do because I'm not a scientist, but the information has been very closed for good reason. But we need to know more about the ones that they're studying. You can take all the other ones and call them interesting, and they are. But I just wanted to say my piece on that. What did you think, Laphonso?
On this one in particular, Maria, it was DNA tested. DNA tested different body parts. First, they started with the hands because they wanted to, to see if it was a hoax. So they DNA tested the hands and found that the hands matched the rest of the body. Then they DNA tested the feet, and they did this over a course of 3 years, all the way up to 2019. And the scientists that did it, they documented it over 3 years of video footage. They documented each step of the way, and they carbon dated it. Now, the fascinating thing about this is that the carbon dating showed that it was alive at 341 ADE. Now, what's interesting about that is the elongated, this mummy actually has an elongated skull, and I believe the other ones also, the other 5 also had elongated skulls, but there wasn't much information about the testing on those, from what I found. But this one in particular, they found that a couple, there were signs of little animals scratchings or whatever, and there was a couple of its, organs that seemed to be missing, and they think that some type of animal may have scavenged it at some point. But if you look at that area of where it was found, the biggest thing I want to try to hunt down is the cave that these were found in, because I'm like, well, what about the cave that they were found in? I mean, it's like, if you found 6 bodies inside of a cave, we need to examine this cave. You know what I mean? What else is in the cave?
Someone's examined it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And the thing I find most fascinating is none of them have any type of clothing or anything. And if you look at the position that it's in, I mean, it's like cradled. So I believe the other mummies were all they're kind of straight, but this one is kind of curled up as if it was maybe suffering, until its death. I mean, that would be a position if you're dying, I would think, and I pay attention to little things like that. And now the thing that I find fascinating about that time frame, the elongated skulls of Peru, they're said to be, what is it? Is it 800? 800 BC or something like that? 1,000? I'm not sure off the top of my head how old the elongated skulls are, but this is something that is after. Now, the ancient hieroglyphs in the area, Peru, they depict
1000 BC to 100 CE. Elongated skulls in Peru.
100 CE. Yeah,
you were pretty much right on the money. Also, I wanted to say you were on the money about whatever that stone we were basalt. It's between 5 and 7 on the Mozarts.
5 and 7.
So you've been on the money all night.
And there's no known tools strong enough in that area. Definitely at 24,000 years ago, known strong enough to work on basalt. So how did he build these structures? But back to Maria. Now, the thing that I find interesting about that whole area. Now we know that the elongated skulls, they were what DNA tested in. They DNA tested them in 2014, I believe, and that DNA testing came back as non-terrestrial. Now, then 2 years later, I don't know if they called it like a peer evaluation testing or what, but they tested something else, and then all of a sudden, these are now human skulls. They're Homo sapiens, huh? And I'm like, well, wait a minute here. So 2 years ago, you're saying that they're non-terrestrial DNA. Now, the thing is, I believe with all those skulls, it's a mixture, right? There's some that have the cranial suture, and then there's some that don't. Like, which skulls do they test? And I've been hunting down trying to figure out which specific skulls were DNA tested. Was it missing the cranial suture? There's a lot of them that are missing the cranial suture, and then there's a lot of them that have it. And they're sitting in the museum, like sitting on the shelf. I'm like, these are the heads of aliens, And now, when it comes to Maria, and if you look, the H blocks, those structures. Now it's said that the construction of those, I think is that Pumapunku, right? Pumapunku, but it said that the construction of those objects are believed to have been started at 546 ADE by the pre-Inca, right? A pre-Inca civilization, and that rock is as hard as granite. Also, I think it's Estadine. I can't pronounce the name, but that rock is as hard as granite also. And there are no known tools ever found used by a pre-Inca civilization that are strong enough to work on those rocks. And then, but you got this DNA tested body nearby that has non-terrestrial DNA. It was DNA tested and it was found to be not of this earth. It doesn't match anything. And you can obviously see from the 3 fingers and the 3 toes. And also there's different body parts that don't match. They don't have ears. Like the mechanisms inside of the head of Maria, it was like there was some type of a bones or some type of structures on the inside, but it didn't have an outside ear on any of these mummies. And that it just blows my mind. So, I'm just right now. I'm trying to hunt for the scientists that did the DNA testing on the elongated skulls, because I want to try to see, if there's any way that, that maybe, there's some type of a potential connection between the DNA testing of the elongated skulls and that first non-terrestrial result. And this, mummy, that's, it's kind of mind blowing. And I'm just like, there's an alien right there. I mean, where is it from?
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I don't know we've got friends that are doing research saying these things are hoaxes. We've got friends doing research saying they're not. You know, I personally, my cosmological view is not hampered, hindered, or altered either way. Right? I think there's enough evidence, as we discussed earlier in the show, for something, be it from here, be it interdimensionally, or be it whatever, messing around in this three-dimensional realm we call home. Right? Whether you label it alien or whatever. I think there's plenty of evidence for that. I don't think it hinges on this particular case or any particular case at all. So that's where I am with it. I'm not claiming either way, but it doesn't really affect me either way. I think these things that are coming from elsewhere that we call aliens are a reality, and I'm good with that. You know, with or without whatever evidence somebody else may need.
I think that's the good way to look at it, you know, is like with an open mind. What are we looking at here, Laphonso?
That is the smoking gun that the three pyramids and the Sphinx were once covered in seawater. That's the unavoidable proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a sea urchin fossil. And this fossil was found, and I know I'm going to say the name wrong, it was sitting in the upright position on the Mankare pyramid, which is the smallest of the three. Mancure or Mancure, I'm not sure.
I always call Menkari.
Menkari.
Yeah.
Okay. It was discovered by accident. One of the scientists that actually was that discovered like the seawater erosion on the pyramids. He actually tripped over it when he was he literally tripped over it.
Wow.
And he stops and he looks and he's like, oh my God, that's a sea urchin, you know, fossil. And the scientists have figured out that this sea urchin fossil lived for 15 years and it died. And as we all know, sea urchin fossils live in where? The seawater. And it's, I mean, this is just the absolute smoking gun that the pyramids are at least, and the Sphinx at least 12,000 years old. And new evidence is happening that proves that they're much older, probably at least 36,000 years old.
Well, we've got the geologic evidence, right, of Robert Schoch with the erosion and all of that, putting it squarely around. And then it's the correlation, right, with the Leo correlation work that Graham Hancock did. When you line that up, that with the last time that there was enough rainfall to account for the erosion was about 12,000 years ago. So, yeah, same dates.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm with you with or without erosion patterns. I'm with you on the pyramids, bro. Look, here's where I stop, and I could go on and on about the facts that back this up, but why did every pyramid get worse? Why is every pyramid falling apart except for those three? What, you know? That's not the way fucking technology works. It's just not.
That's a good one.
You know?
It's true, and I don't want to mean to bum anyone out, but like all the ones that seem intact in Mexico are in fact
rebuilt.
They basically were rebuilt from rubble, including the Pyramid of the Sun at Chichen Itza, which was funny because I visited there twice, and it's spectacular. Okay, but there's an element of deceit. It's not necessarily on purpose, but most of that site was entirely rebuilt. And you can go find there are pictures available of like what it used to look like. But you're right, Shaman, those three pyramids in Egypt seem to be the only one. And then they got crappier and crappier as, you know, the dynastic Egyptians started trying to create pyramids as well. And you go back to what Laphonso keeps talking about, which is the tools. Like they didn't have the tools, you know, like drill holes, giant scoop marks, tube drills,
saw overcut marks, massive blocks that they don't have any idea how they explained. And you know,
I've went down every single rabbit hole of how those bad boys were made, and my only conclusion is that we have no fucking idea, and that somebody else made them, whether they were humans or aliens or hybrids or giants or whatever that, or interdimensional beings, whatever the hell we're talking about. They existed before our civilization, and they're a message. They're a message to us. They encoded in stone, and so that's just my rant on that. But this is wild. I've literally never seen this picture before. Have you, Jason?
No, I have not.
I need to look more into this.
When we first found it, it blew my mind, because the thing is I had been collecting information on each one of the three. Now, the Menkaure pyramid, for example, we're told to believe that it was completed in 15 years. But I believe it wasn't completed before he died, before the Menkaure died. Now, the Menkaure pyramid is about 1/10 the size of the Great Pyramid, which has 2,300,000 blocks, right? Now, they don't know, for whatever reason, you can't find a number count on the Menkaure pyramid. So if it's 1/10 the size, you just figure it's, just give a number, 230,000, right? Blocks, but on average, they weigh 2.5 tons each. That's the average weight. Now, the red granite blocks have been found to be 30 tons each, and found to have been moved from 500 miles away at Aswan. Now, if you do the math, 15 years, 230,000. That means that they had to build. They had to build 40 blocks per day, nonstop, day and night, for 15 straight years in weather that was north of 100 degrees most of the year. That is physically impossible. And if you look at the Khafre pyramid, that has 2,300,000 blocks, and it has massive granite pillars. I don't know the exact number of them, but they weigh on average 70 tons each. Each one of those red granite pillars have been found to be moved from Aswan, 500 miles away. Now, and we're told that Khafre is built in 20 years, right? Yeah. If you do the math, that's 13 blocks per hour that weigh on average 2.5 tons nonstop, day and night, for 20 years straight in 100+ degree weather most of the year. It ain't happening. And
in my best Zahi Hawass voice, it was a national project. It was a national project, Joe. It was. Yeah.
It's in my book.
But everything. It was a national project. Everyone was involved.
Yeah.
It's in my book, Joe.
And the kicker of everything, they say that these pyramids were built supposedly around 2,500 BC, right? And supposedly these were built in 20 years, right? And the Egyptians, during that time frame, there are no known tools found harder than copper.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And and nothing's found. I mean, how do you and the thing is, each one of these blocks are custom made to match any block that touches it on the top, the side, and the bottom. 2,300,000 of them, custom made. And
it's a mountain. Granite. It's a mountain of these things. I mean, it's a mountain made of these precision things. Yeah. And copper. Yeah, come on, man. I couldn't carve this wooden desk I'm on with a copper chisel. I'd be constantly having to fix my chisel.
They had a really big ramp, lots of pulley systems. Come on, man. They put the giant block. They put the giant blocks on reed boats.
The ramp would have had to have been so long that it literally would. I'm serious. When you work out the grade to hold the weight of like those top chevron stones, I forget the weight, but when you work out the grade of the ramp that it would need to be to hold that, you're talking about a ramp that was something like 20 miles long or so. I mean, it's ridiculous to get the right grade to get those stones to the top. I think we're looking at found objects. I don't care who that pisses off. I think we're looking at found objects. You know,
Agreed.
and
Oh yeah. This
You
this
know.
picture in particular, this is my favorite picture of the Great Pyramid
Me too.
because growing up, in America,
I wish I could zoom in, guys. I'm sorry, but I can't.
oh, that's okay. The growing up in America, you only see faraway shots that just doesn't even give you in only you've seen pyramids in cartoons and songs and stuff like that. That's you never see an actual shot that shows just how massive it is. And each one of those blocks, and you look at that lady at the bottom,
Yeah,
in each
that's why I like this picture.
and you know that each one of these blocks were custom made to fit each other like a puzzle. And
Oh shoot, I'm zooming.
Look at you, producer.
Yeah.
Like maybe it took them 20 years to like resurface it nicely, and then that didn't last clearly, and it's back to what they found. Is what
20 years just to wash that bastard,
Yeah.
not to build it.
oh,
Seriously.
I just wanted to highlight just that why this is such a good picture, because you can see the lady sitting there, and
Yeah,
it's as if you're
exactly.
looking straight up at this mountain of stone that is, just an enigmatic, like, Europeans have been traveling to this thing since they had boats, like going, what the hell? And they were climbing around in there and stuff. And that form of science, what it evolved into as it is today, has no idea how this thing was made. I don't care what anyone says. I talked to an engineer the other day, and I'm going to drop his episode. Really nice guy. He presented a ramp theory to me, and look, I will listen to anybody, and I will put the pieces together and stuff like that. And I'm not like throwing his theory out. Like maybe there's some kind of technology that they had at that time that we didn't understand. Maybe it took a lot longer than they said. Whatever. I'm open to that idea, but so far academia just isn't giving us the right answers when it comes to this particular thing. And there's another one called Kailasa Temple in India that's also, to me, the other most unexplainable site on Earth. But there's no way you could put all these on boats and, like you said, 500 miles away, yada yada yada. That makes no sense at all. No sense at all.
At 13 per hour, 13 2.5 ton blocks made per hour, nonstop, day and night for 20 straight years to get to 2,300,000.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like making them, never mind, like making them and transporting, never mind, like perfectly placing them.
Right, and keeping them. I've built walls in landscaping, y'all, and working with shit just the size of my hand is pretty hard. But, to keep it to true north, and it's the size of a school bus and weighs more than any human agent, or institution or group ought to be able to lift at the time, let alone carve. I do not see how people do not see wonder in these things. I don't.
Well, I saw this great example that Jimmy Corsetti put together in one of his older videos, where he shows like what modern people and modern technology tried to do about 10 years ago in California to move a giant stone approximately this size. And actually, I think it was smaller than some of these.
Broke the damn truck, didn't it?
Well, they had to make a customized, like, I'm gonna make this up, but it was like several extra axles and like tires, and they had to shut down a whole highway, and they had to go like super slow, and it broke a couple times. So I mean, that to me, that's enough for me to go, okay, we got the story wrong, right?
Why? Yeah.
So what we're looking at here is the recent SAR scans, which have been a huge topic. What's really cool is Megan and I got to meet the man himself, Filippo Biondi.
Oh my goodness.
And party with them at Cosmic Summit. if
Oh,
you guys
that's
have a
nice.
chance
Yeah,
to come,
Filippo parties for the record. That made me
Yeah.
great.
totally,
I'm
totally.
friends with him on Facebook, and I'm stalking him like, like a sick maniac. But I haven't like tried to reach out to him or say anything.
I'm trying to get him on here. I think his inbox is pretty busy at the moment, but I'm working on it.
Oh,
Because he
look.
was just on Joe Rogan, so I'm sure his inbox is blowing up.
Yeah.
But Megan and him are pals, so maybe he might make an appearance in the multiverse. But if this technology stands up, it'll change everything, because then we can use it on everything, right? So why did you want to show us this, Laphonso?
Because I wanted to just basically just talk about this fascinating new discovery. I believe changes human history, and in a displayable way proves, I believe, the story of the Anunnaki as real. Because the massive structures. They say that there's two massive columns running underneath the Great Pyramid, right? And one massive column that runs underneath the Sphinx that connects into a massive cubical structure at the bottom, and then four that run underneath the Khafre Pyramid that run into two massive cubical structures, and then there's eight on the Mankure. I keep saying it wrong, but the Mankure Pyramid that runs into four massive cubical structures, and it's all over like 1.2 miles deep underground, making these structures the largest structures on planet Earth. And we have no information from anyone except the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, said to be.
Yeah, Thoth said he went under there to regenerate.
Yeah, and he claims that he is the builder of the Great Pyramid. And supposedly 36,000. And he's for the longest time he said that he's built massive structures underneath the pyramid.
The halls of Amenti. He said he would descend the stairs, right? Go down there for 100 years or 1,000 years, whatever it was. He'd go down for 100 every 1,000, and he stayed on there to regenerate his bodily form, and then come back up and live another 1,000 years.
And
Isn't Amenti like a term for Atlantis? Sort of. Do I have that right?
So Amenti would have been probably correlated with Inner Earth stories, right? So Agartha or something along those. But it's exact same people. It would have been the antediluvian people would have had access to whatever technology he was saying is now in the halls of Amenti, which is what Laphonso was referring to as being under the pyramids, right? Yeah.
And Thoth also said he hid us a spaceship underneath the Sphinx, and we see this one massive pillar, and there's a huge cubical shaped structure at the bottom of the Sphinx, and I'm just like, ooh, what is this? Now, the one thing I'm kind of curious, the last that I had heard was that the original star radar scans were announced like back on March of last year, but I had recently heard that they completed the peer evaluation process, and they used 4 different star radar satellites, and they scanned them at all 4 at different angles, and all 4 satellites returned the same data as the original scan that you're looking at. And have you guys heard any word? Because I haven't seen like any announcement.
I've heard it's been independently verified by like several other sources now, but I haven't seen it firsthand.
Because I kind of seen it, but and I've been kind of just rolling with it and saying, that's what happened. But but this is just mind blowing. I mean, the thing is, I mean, from what I hear, Egypt is like not even going to acknowledge it, and they may not even, they're not even letting anybody begin to make plans to dig. Like the last thing that I heard was that I know that Trevor Grassi was trying to get, he was trying to get permits, and there was about 3 other countries that were also attempting.
Yes, I heard that. I didn't know what happened after that, though.
Right, I just never heard anything else. And the only thing that you hear is like from a WASP is like, nope, this ain't. We're not acknowledging it, and ignoring it. And I'm just like, this literally may be the only thing that we get in our lifetime.
Would this be bigger? You mentioned this might be the biggest structure on Earth. Would it be bigger than? You probably don't know this off the top of your head, but the Hoover Dam. That thing's pretty friggin' big. Probably, right? Because if this is all connected, you see the size. You think about the size of the pyramids, and you see how deep it goes. If that's real, if that's accurate, then it would be.
That's 1.2 miles deep underground. 1.2 miles, and I believe that the one on the far left, the Mancreate, it actually goes through the water table and goes underneath the water table and into the soil. Now, I heard something, but I haven't really looked at it yet. But I heard that Robert Schott was saying there may have been some type of information where they've discovered that it's a possibility that all that dirt that's there may have been removed. And then they built it, and then they put the dirt back. That's what I heard. I mean, I kind of heard, but I haven't confirmed it yet. Have you guys heard anything about that at all?
I haven't. On a show the other day, Dave, we were discussing, it was an Inner Earth episode. I was getting a lesson from Rick Osman. And here's what I take from this, guys. What I find interesting about this whole pyramid scan thing is, look, as a lay guy, it doesn't matter what side you're on. Okay. Here's what I find very intriguing. Scientists, in the books that they put in my school when I was a little kid, and still today, if I go ask them, they are 1,100 everything, all they got certain on what's in the middle of the Earth. They can tell me without a doubt at what depth the Earth changes from crust to core to mantle, and they can tell me what it's made of. Okay, so my question is, why are we arguing so much over something that's half a mile deep? If see, I find a narrative break in there that I find it weird that they're going to tell me my technology can tell me for certain what's in the center of the Earth, but we're arguing over technology that can tell me what's in a mile under. And it's true. I think scientists, as we continue down this road of awakening, I think they're going to find themselves in these conundrums a bit more often, where they've got us this narrative that they want us to believe, and they go, no, it's a fact. And then you got something like this where you're going, okay, so how come this can't be a fact? It's a mile deep, and you've talked to me about 2,000 miles deep. You said you know a fact down there, so what's the difference? I just find that interesting,
What I find really bizarre about this whole thing is Egypt's reaction. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, Egypt for pyramid tourism, they make about $18 billion a year.
You've got Zahi at the head, dude. And as long as you've got Zahi at the head, this is nothing personal. It's just watching, what's going on. Yeah. Anything that alludes to any story that counteracts dynastic Egypt being directly responsible, you're not going to get publicized currently. Yeah.
And may I say, and this is just pure speculation, but it's quite possible that Zahi has been long compromised by the powers that be that are controlling this information. And hey, look, I like Zahi. I'm not even a Zahi hater. I've watched almost everything, documentary stuff I could find. And I respect the work he's done on the ground, because archaeology and to a degree Egyptology are sciences. They're just not, some parts of archaeology are hard science, but eventually you got to start informing with not archaeology, but anthropology and that kind of thing. And, I think with Zahi, you have a combination of he's been the man for however long it's been. Plus, there may be an element of overhead control. Just saying.
Super fragile ego is my vote.
Yeah, I think these people get chosen to be in these roles, right? You know, there's a man that very much seems to enjoy being the head of the tours. He enjoys the old ladies wanting to come and take pictures and tell everybody they met him. He enjoys going on shows, smoking his cigar. He enjoys his role, right? Usually that is
I
the
would
type.
too.
Yeah, well, usually that is the type individual that gets chosen to be in these roles, right? And so, Dave, for you to say that, of course. Look, we can't have a celebrity get a permanent microphone in their hand without them meeting some level of control so that people know what they're going to say out loud, right? Yes, of course that happens in our history. And you pick a guy like Zahi to be that man because he's going to do what you tell him because he likes cigars and steaks and fame.
I wanted to quickly shout out my friend Sam. She's been really helping me out getting organized after I lost my team. And she's been doing, so she's right here. Sam, say hi.
Hi, Sam.
And she's been giving me numbers and support and stuff like that. So shout out Sam. What are we looking at? What are we looking at here, Laphonso, as we start wrapping up?
This is the infamous chromosome number 2. What I believe is the smoking gun that our DNA was tampered with, because the fusion that happened with chromosome number 2 and the capping of our telomeres that limits our age to 120.
Yeah.
According to science, this mutation should have taken over, I've heard as high as 2 million years, just through natural evolution.
Yeah.
But it suddenly happened 200,000 years ago. And science says that happened. And we also have the most ancient writings in ancient Sumerian tablets that give us a time frame by the creators of the concept of time that says 200,000 years ago, a race of space traveling giant aliens combined their DNA with one of our hominid ancestors and created us. And it's just it's like the evidence is just like in a way it screams at you a little bit, and that's all I really do is I just I try to combine science with the ancient information, and in this case it matches, and it's really kind of hard to to kind of get your way around this, the way it kind of matches. Really strange. Really strange.
Yeah. History is strange. Humans are strange in the most wonderful type of way. Our universe is beyond strange. Our multiverse might be even stranger. And we're just, I believe, consciousnesses connected to one consciousness that's trying to figure this whole darn thing out. And we gotta do it together, right, Shaman?
That's it. What's the saying, Dave? It's not that the universe is stranger than you imagine. It's that it's stranger than you can imagine. That it's not only wilder than what we've been told, wilder than what we can imagine, but it is, in these current limited senses we have, quite beyond what we even can imagine. That's where I am with it. Yes. So me, man. A brain is like a parachute. It works best when it's all the way open.
I'm gonna start a little outro music. Let's see if that's the one I want. No.
Thank you guys so much for today, for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm going to be jumping in your Facebook group and getting those pictures of those tridents in there.
Guys, go find
Megan. We need to talk because I collect. Those weapons, because I have a collection that I'm building of meteorite found artifacts.
Okay, we do need to talk.
Laphonso found me on Facebook. I found some giant stuff made out of stone around here. I bet you'd love to, bro. Go find these guys on Facebook. They're building community. We participate. We couldn't be prouder to have talked to you guys. Thank you so much for showing us your love, showing us your curiosity, showing us your passion. This has been a really, really great time. Dave, thank you for inviting me to ride shotgun. Megan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.
Dave, thank you again. We had a wonderful time. It was very informative. Thank you.
Yeah, very formative, very fun, very community building. Check out the Shaman and the Philosopher podcast on YouTube, as well as the Institute for Natural Philosophy. They're about to be doing big things that I can't share.
I know they're all secrets,
All
but it's
right.
just all about putting folks together and getting stuff out there. And you know, we've got a bunch of guys with projects that have come to us, and we're going to start trying to find ways to get folks money and get some stuff done. You know, make some real progress. Find me on YouTube, Shaman 711, Antediluvian Alabama, and Finding Mabilla. Love you, Dave. Appreciate all this. Man.
Yep. And also, full episode with the Shaman drops Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Join me in the live premiere. And guys, any final words for the multiverse, for your first trip into the multiverse?
Oh, it was absolutely awesome.
Yes.
Boom.
You
Let's
gotta-
go. I love it. I love it. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. And what can we expect next from you guys? Just more growing the community and that kind of thing, spreading the information.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just trying to grow the group, trying to get as many researchers and scientists in there as possible, and to just basically just display their information, their research, their opinions, their theories, and that's the key. That's the key to finding all the answers. Is we got to have like a hive mentality, and just try to connect. As much information as possible.
I love it. I love it. That's a good place to end it. Hey, Shaman, Megan's first time on the producer desk. You'll see her in an episode with Michael Donnellan, the archaeologist, martial artist, and former FX coordinator at Disney. We talked for like 3.5 hours. Actually, no, it was
I think it was like 4.5 hours.
It was 4 hours and 20 minutes with like 3 different pee breaks, and I'm gonna cut some of it down. Hopefully, it's. But the thing is, the episode was great. We really talked about a bunch of awesome stuff, and not just ancient history, life, growth. The growth process as a human. That's one of the things that I like to think. We're all a work in progress, guys, and we're a work in progress together. So thank you again.
Change is the only constant, Dave, and growth the only objective.
Exactly. Lakeisha and Laphonso Woods.
All right.
Ancient Portals on Facebook.
Thank
Thank you so much for joining the multiverse. Let's go. All right.
Let's go.
Screen.